I was 34 when my wife called me useless in front of her entire family. And I realized the woman I married had been lying to everyone for years. I should have felt it coming during the car ride over. She kept checking her phone, sighing dramatically whenever I spoke, correcting the way I pronounced hors d'oeuvres like it mattered. But I brushed it off. Thanksgiving at her parents' house was always a production. Her mom cooked for days, her dad obsessed over carving the turkey perfectly, and everyone dressed like we were attending a dinner party instead of a family meal. I'd brought 2 bottles of wine, helped her dad set up the folding chairs in the dining room that morning, and figured it would be fine. It was never fine, but I kept hoping. We sat down around 3 in the afternoon. The house smelled like rosemary and butter. Her grandmother was at the head of the table where she always sat, watching everyone with those sharp eyes that missed nothing. Her sister and brother-in-law were wrangling their kids. Her uncle poured drinks while her aunt fussed with the napkin arrangement. Everything looked normal. I was passing the mashed potatoes when her cousin Jeremy asked me how work was going. Before I could answer, she cut in. "Oh, you know Jeremy. Same boring routine. He goes to the office, comes home. That's about it." She laughed, but it wasn't warm. It had an edge. Her brother-in-law chuckled politely and said something about most jobs being like that. She wasn't done. "Yeah, but at least you have interesting projects. He barely does anything around the house either. Honestly, I'm the one holding everything together." I set my fork down slowly, looked at her. She was smiling at the table, playing to the crowd. But her eyes had that glint I'd seen before, when she wanted to win an argument in public by making me look small. This wasn't teasing. This was calculated. Her sister jumped in with some comment about men never helping enough, and my wife nodded enthusiastically like she'd been waiting for backup. "Exactly. I mean, I'm grateful he has a job, but it's exhausting picking up all the slack." I kept my voice even. "What slack are you talking about?" She waved her hand like I was being ridiculous. "Don't get defensive. I'm just being honest with my family." Her mother tried to pivot the conversation toward cranberry sauce, but my wife was on a roll now. She leaned back in her chair, addressing everyone like she was giving a toast. "Let's be real. He's pretty useless around the house. I do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the planning. And financially?" She laughed again, sharper this time. "Let's just say I'm carrying most of that weight too." The room got quieter. I could feel her dad shifting uncomfortably. Her uncle stared at his plate. The kids sensed something wrong and stopped fidgeting. I stayed calm. My voice didn't rise. "That's interesting, considering I've been paying the mortgage and most of the bills for the past 3 years." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. You act like you're doing me some huge favor. It's called being married. That's what you're supposed to do." Her cousin's wife looked like she wanted to disappear. The tension was thick enough to cut. Then her grandmother's voice sliced through it all. "Enough!" Everyone froze. Her grandmother was 82 and didn't raise her voice often. When she did, people listened. My wife tried to smile, tried to smooth it over. "Grandma, I said enough." Her grandmother set down her napkin with precision and looked directly at my wife. "You want to talk about who's useless? Let's talk about who's been paying your student loans for the past 4 years. My wife's face went white. "What?" The silence was absolute. Her grandmother continued, calm and steady. "The bank called me 3 weeks ago. They meant to call you, but they still had my number listed as secondary contact from when I co-signed your first loan back in college. They were confirming the automatic payments. My wife stammered. That's a mistake. They must have... It's not a mistake. Her grandmother looked at me, then back at her. Your husband has been making those payments, $800 a month for 4 years, while you've been telling everyone you're handling everything. Her mother's mouth fell open. Her father slowly put down his carving knife. I said nothing, just sat there watching her scramble. Grandma, you don't understand. We share finances. It's complicated. Her grandmother cut her off again. Don't insult my intelligence. I know exactly what's happening here. You've been lying to everyone about who does what in your marriage, and now you're standing here in front of your whole family calling him useless. She stood up slowly, using the table for support. She looked at me with something that might have been sympathy. Divorce her. You deserve better than this. The silence that followed felt like it lasted an hour. Even the kids had gone completely still. My wife's face was bright red, her mouth opening and closing with no sound coming out. I pushed back from the table and stood. Everyone watched me. I'm going home. Thank you for dinner, Mrs. Stafford. My wife grabbed my arm. Wait, you can't just leave. We need to talk about this. I looked down at her hand on my arm, then at her face. No, we don't. I pulled free and walked toward the door. Behind me, I could hear her trying to explain, trying to salvage something. Her family wasn't buying it. I got in my car and drove home alone, leaving her to face what she'd built. The house was dark when I got there. I sat in the living room without turning on the lights, just processing everything. She came through the door an hour later, slamming it hard enough to rattle the frame. Are you happy now? You completely humiliated me in front of my entire family. I didn't move from the couch. I humiliated you. Yes, you sat there and let my grandmother attack me like that. You could have said something. You could have defended me. Defended you from the truth. She froze for a second, then recovered. It's not like that. She twisted everything. She made it sound like you've been lying to your family about our finances, because that's exactly what you've been doing. She crossed her arms. I never said I was paying your bills. I just said I was handling things. That's different. You called me useless in front of everyone. You said you were carrying the financial weight. I was exaggerating for effect. People do that. It's called venting. I stood up and turned on the lamp. She looked defensive and angry, but underneath it I could see panic starting to set in. Venting. You humiliated me at Thanksgiving dinner and called it venting. Stop being so sensitive. My family knows how I am. They know I joke around. Your grandmother didn't think it was a joke. Her face tightened. My grandmother is old and confused. She shouldn't have brought up private financial information like that. That was completely out of line. She wasn't confused. She knew exactly what she was talking about. And now your whole family knows the truth. She started pacing. This is unbelievable. You're acting like I committed some horrible crime. So I exaggerated a little about who pays for what. Big deal. Married couples do that all the time. You didn't exaggerate. You lied. And you've been lying for years. She stopped and pointed at me. I never asked you to pay my loans. You offered. You said you wanted to help. I did want to help, but I didn't expect you to turn around and tell everyone you were carrying me financially. That's a pretty twisted way to repay support. I never said that specifically. You implied it repeatedly. Tonight was just the first time someone called you out on it. She sat down hard on the armchair, putting her head in her hands. When she looked up, her eyes were wet. My family is never going to look at me the same way. Do you understand that? My grandmother basically disowned me at the dinner table. She told you to divorce me. She didn't disown you, but I understand why you'd feel that way. Her head snapped up. So you're thinking about it? Divorce? Are you seriously asking me that right now? After what you did tonight? Why wouldn't I be thinking about it? She stood up again, switching tactics. Look, I messed up. I admit it. I shouldn't have said those things. I was stressed and I took it out on you in front of everyone. But we can fix this. We can talk to my family, explain. Explain what? That you've been disrespecting me publicly for years and tonight was just the first time anyone noticed? That's not fair. Your grandmother had to defend me at Thanksgiving dinner. Your own grandmother. Because you were too busy tearing me down to remember that I've been supporting you this whole time. She wiped her eyes. I know I screwed up. But don't let one bad night destroy our marriage. We can get through this. One bad night. I shook my head. This has been building for years. You've been dismissive, entitled, and ungrateful. Tonight you just said it out loud, in front of witnesses. So what? You're just going to give up? After everything we've built together? What have we built? A house I pay for, bills I cover, while you pretend you're doing me a favor by existing. She flinched. That's cruel. It's accurate. She sat back down, crying harder now. Please, we can go to counseling. We can work on this. I'll apologize to my family. I'll make it right. You can't make this right. Your grandmother saw through you. Your parents saw through you. Even your sister looked uncomfortable. They'll get over it. Families fight. They forgive. Maybe they'll forgive you. But I'm done. She looked up sharply. What does that mean? It means I'm not interested in fixing this. You showed me exactly who you are tonight. And your grandmother confirmed what I've been too blind to see for years. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. You can sleep in the guest room tonight. Tomorrow we figure out next steps. She stood up, anger replacing tears. You're overreacting. One fight, and you're ready to throw away our whole marriage. That's insane. This wasn't one fight. This was the culmination of years of you taking me for granted and expecting me to smile through it. Fine. She grabbed her purse. If you want space, I'll give you space. But when you calm down and think about this rationally, you're going to realize you're making a huge mistake. She went upstairs. The guest room door slammed hard enough to shake the walls. I sat back down on the couch and pulled out my phone. 3 missed calls from her mother. 2 text messages from her grandmother. The one from her grandmother was simple. Call me when you get a chance. I meant what I said. I stared at the message for a long time before turning off my phone and closing my eyes. Tomorrow was going to be worse. But tonight, at least the truth was finally out. The next morning, I woke up early and called her grandmother. She picked up on the second ring. I was hoping you'd call. Mrs. Anderson, I wanted to thank you for what you said yesterday. Don't thank me. I only said what needed to be said. That girl has been out of line for too long. I sat down at the kitchen table. How much did you know about how she talks about me? There was a pause. Enough. Her mother mentioned things over the years, little comments here and there about how you weren't ambitious enough, not social enough. I always thought it was strange considering you were the one working steady and paying the bills. But I never had proof until the bank called. When they told me about those loan payments, everything clicked into place. She told them I wasn't ambitious, among other things. But I never had confirmation until yesterday. When she stood there calling you useless in front of the whole family, I knew I'd heard enough. That kind of disrespect doesn't get better with time. I heard her moving around upstairs. I'm thinking about filing for separation. Good. You should. Her voice was firm. I've been married 56 years. I know what a partnership looks like. What you two have, isn't it? Her parents might not see it that way. Her parents know exactly what she is. They're just too polite to say it out loud. But after yesterday, nobody can pretend anymore. We talked for a few more minutes before I heard footsteps on the stairs. I should go. Call me if you need anything. I mean that. I ended the call just as she came into the kitchen. She looked exhausted, her eyes puffy from crying. Who was that? Your grandmother. She poured herself coffee without looking at me. Of course it was. I'm sure she had plenty to say. She was checking on me. How nice. Her voice was bitter. My own grandmother taking your side. She's not taking sides. She's calling out bad behavior. She slammed the coffee pot down. Can we not do this right now? I barely slept. Neither did I. She sat across from me at the table. So, what happens now? You're serious about this separation thing? Yes. She stared at her coffee. My mom called me last night. She thinks I owe you an apology. Do you? She looked up. Do you want me to apologize? Only if you mean it. Fine, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said those things at dinner. I was out of line. I waited. What? She asked. That's not enough. You're apologizing for getting caught, not for what you did. Oh my God. She stood up. What do you want from me? You want me to grovel? To beg? I said I was sorry. You've been disrespecting me for years. An apology doesn't fix that. So, nothing I say will matter. You've already made up your mind. Pretty much. She grabbed her phone off the counter. I'm going to my parents' house. I can't deal with this right now. That's fine. Take whatever you need. She stopped at the door. You're making a mistake. When you're ready to talk like adults, let me know. She left. The house went quiet again. I spent the rest of the morning going through finances. Bank statements, credit card bills, loan documents. Everything was in my name except her student loans, which I'd been paying like an idiot. Around noon, her mother called. I'm not trying to take sides, she started. It's okay, Mrs. Stafford. I understand. No, you don't. She sighed. I need to apologize. I've known for a while that she wasn't being fair to you. I should have said something sooner. That caught me off guard. You knew? Not everything, but enough. The way she talked about you when you weren't around. The comments about money. I thought it was just marriage stress. I didn't realize how deep it went until yesterday. She told you I think she owes me an apology. She does, a genuine one. But honestly, I don't think she understands why. She thinks yesterday was about her being embarrassed. She doesn't see that she's been treating you terribly. That's the problem. I know. And I'm sorry. My mother was right. You do deserve better. We talked for another 10 minutes before she had to go. After we hung up, I sat there staring at the phone. Her own mother was on my side. Her grandmother had publicly told me to divorce her. And she was at her parents' house, probably trying to convince them I was overreacting. I picked up the phone again and called a family law attorney my coworker had recommended months ago. I'd saved the number without thinking I'd ever use it. The receptionist scheduled me for a consultation Monday morning. When she came home that evening, she was calmer but still defensive. I talked to my parents. They think we should try counseling before making any big decisions. I have an appointment with a lawyer on Monday. Her face went white. You what? I'm not interested in counseling. I'm interested in ending this marriage. You can't be serious. You're actually going through with this. Yes. She sat down slowly. Over one fight at Thanksgiving dinner. Over years of disrespect that culminated in you humiliating me at Thanksgiving dinner. This is insane. You're throwing away everything because I made one mistake. It wasn't one mistake, it was a pattern. And yesterday your family finally saw it. She put her head in her hands. I can't believe this is happening. Believe it. She looked up, her eyes hard. Fine, if that's how you want to play it. But don't expect me to make this easy. I don't expect anything from you anymore. That's the whole point. I went upstairs, leaving her sitting alone at the kitchen table. Monday couldn't come fast enough. The weekend was tense. We barely spoke. She stayed in the guest room. I stayed in the main bedroom. Sunday night, she tried one more time. Can we talk before you go to that lawyer? I was reading in bed. What's there to talk about? She sat on the edge of the bed uninvited. I've been thinking, maybe I have taken you for granted. Maybe I haven't appreciated everything you do. Maybe. Okay, I have. I admit it. But people make mistakes. That doesn't mean we have to blow up our entire life together. I put the book down. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices. Every time you told your family I wasn't good enough. Every time you downplayed what I contribute. Every single time you put me down to make yourself look better. I know, and I'm trying to fix it. How? By admitting it now that you got caught? That's not fixing anything. That's damage control. She looked down at her hands. What if I paid you back for the loans? Would that help? I almost laughed. With what money? You haven't been saving anything. I know because I see the credit card statements. Her face flushed. I could get a second job. I could figure it out. I don't want your money. I want you to understand why this is over. And you still don't. Then explain it to me. I've been explaining it for 3 days. You're not listening. You're just looking for the magic words that will make me change my mind. She stood up. So that's it. Nothing I say matters. Not anymore? She walked to the door and stopped. You're going to regret this. When you're alone and you realize what you gave up, you're going to regret it. I'll take my chances. She left without another word. Monday morning, I met with the attorney. His name was Mr. Cole. He was in his 50s, calm and professional. Tell me about your situation. I laid it all out. The Thanksgiving dinner, the years of financial support, the public humiliation. He took notes and nodded occasionally. Do you own property together? The house is in my name. I bought it before we got married. She moved in after the wedding. Joint bank accounts? One checking account. I deposit my paycheck there. She has access but rarely uses it for bills, mostly shopping. Any kids? No. He leaned back. This should be straightforward then. No kids, property is separate, and you can document the loan payments. Do you want to pursue any of that money back? No, I just want out. That makes it easier. We can file for a simple dissolution. If she contests it, it gets more complicated. But based on what you've told me, I doubt she has much ground to stand on. She said she won't make it easy. They always say that. Most of the time they calm down once they see the paperwork. Anger is expensive in divorce court. I signed the retainer agreement and left his office feeling lighter than I had in days. When I got home that evening, she was waiting in the living room. "Where were you?" "I told you, the lawyer." "So you actually did it?" "Yes." She stood up, arms crossed. "Fine. Two can play that game. I called a lawyer too." "Good. You should have representation." That threw her off. "You're not even going to fight me on this." "Fight you on what? Getting a lawyer? That's your right." "I mean on the divorce. You're not going to try to work things out?" "No." She paced the room. "My lawyer said I could go after the house, community property and all that. The house was mine before we got married. Your lawyer should have told you that." "He said there are ways around that. Contributions to the household, improvements, things like that." "You're welcome to try. But you haven't contributed to the mortgage or any major improvements. I have receipts for everything." Her confidence wavered. "You kept receipts?" "I keep records of everything, always have." She sat back down. "Why are you being so cold about this?" "I'm not being cold. I'm being practical. You made it clear how you feel about me. I'm just accepting it and moving forward." "I never said I don't love you." "You didn't have to say it. You showed it every time you disrespected me, dismissed me, or lied about me to your family. Actions matter more than words." She was quiet for a moment. "My dad called today. He thinks I should just let you go. He said I burned the bridge, and there's no rebuilding it." "Your dad's a smart man. Everyone is taking your side, my whole family. Do you know how that feels?" "I know exactly how it feels. I felt it every time you put me down in front of them, and they said nothing." She wiped her eyes. "I really messed this up, didn't I?" "Yes, you did. And there's nothing I can do to fix it." "No." She stood up slowly. "Then I guess we're done talking." "I guess we are." She went upstairs. I heard her on the phone in the guest room, probably calling her lawyer back. I sat in the living room and opened my laptop. Mr. Cole had emailed me a list of documents to gather. Bank statements, tax returns, proof of separate property. I started organizing everything into folders. My phone buzzed. A text from her grandmother. "How did it go with the lawyer?" "Good. We're moving forward. Proud of you. This is the right choice." I set the phone down and kept working. The sooner I got everything together, the sooner this would be over. For the first time in years, I felt like I was in control of my own life. The paperwork moved faster than I expected. Within 2 weeks, Mr. Cole filed the dissolution petition. She was served at her parents' house where she'd been staying most nights. Her lawyer contacted mine with a list of demands. She wanted half the value of the house, spousal support, and reimbursement for emotional distress. Mr. Cole called me after reviewing it. "This is a fantasy list. She has no legal basis for any of this." "So, what do? We respond with the facts. Property acquired before marriage, documented separate finances, and no grounds for spousal support since you both work. And the marriage was short-term. Her lawyer is fishing." "Will this go to court?" "Only if she wants to waste money. Most likely, her lawyer will explain reality to her and she'll settle." He was right. 3 days later, her lawyer sent a revised proposal. She dropped the house claim and the emotional distress nonsense. She only wanted to keep her car and personal belongings. "That's reasonable," Mr. Cole said. "I recommend we accept and move forward." I agreed. By early December, we had a settlement. She would take her car, her clothes, and any furniture she wanted from the guest room. I would keep the house, my car, and everything else. She would assume responsibility for her own student loans going forward. The day we signed the final papers, I saw her in the parking lot of the lawyer's office. She looked smaller somehow, tired. "Can we talk for a minute?" she asked. "If you want." We sat on a bench outside. It was cold, but neither of us suggested going inside. I talked to my therapist. She said she thinks I have some issues with self-worth, that I put you down to make myself feel better. That sounds about right. I'm working on it, for what it's worth. That's good. You should work on it. She looked at me. "Do you hate me?" "No, I'm disappointed. But I don't hate you. My grandmother still won't talk to me. My mom barely does. My dad just looks at me like he's ashamed. They'll come around eventually. Families do." "You sound pretty sure about that." "Because I know your family. They're good people. They're just processing what happened." She pulled her coat tighter. "I never meant for things to get this bad. I thought I was just venting. I didn't realize how much damage I was doing." "That's the problem. You didn't realize. And by the time you did, it was too late." "Would anything have changed your mind? If I'd apologized sooner, been more honest?" I thought about it. Maybe. If you'd shown me you actually understood what you did wrong. But every conversation we had, you were more focused on managing the fallout than actually taking responsibility. She nodded slowly. "You're probably right." We sat in silence for a moment. "What are you going to do now?" I asked. "Move in with my parents for a while, save some money, figure out how to pay those loans myself." She laughed bitterly. "Turns out being an adult is harder when someone isn't covering for you." "You'll manage." "Will you? Manage, I mean." "I'll be fine." She stood up. "Well, I guess this is it." "I guess so." She walked to her car without looking back. I watched her drive away, then went inside to sign the last of the documents. Mr. Cole shook my hand. "Congratulations, you're officially single." "Thanks." "Any plans for the holidays?" "Quiet ones. Just me and some peace and quiet." He smiled. "Sounds perfect." I drove home in the early afternoon. The house felt different. Emptier, but not in a bad way. She'd taken the guest room furniture and some kitchen stuff. I didn't mind. That evening, her grandmother called. "I heard it's final. As of this morning. How are you holding up?" "Better than expected, honestly. I feel relieved." "Good. That's how you should feel. You did the right thing." "Have you talked to her?" "Not yet. I'm still angry. But I will eventually. She's my granddaughter. I love her. But I don't like what she did to you." "She knows she messed up, for what that's worth." "It's worth something. Not enough to fix the marriage, but something." We talked for a while longer. She invited me to Christmas dinner, which surprised me. "You don't have to do that," I said. "I want to. Your family, divorce or not. Plus, it'll drive her crazy." I laughed. "I appreciate the offer, but I think I'll pass. Let her have her family back. I don't need to make things more complicated." "You're a better person than most. She's lucky you're being so graceful about all this." I'm just ready to move on. After we hung up, I sat in the living room with a beer and looked around. This was my space now. completely mine. No more walking on eggshells. No more criticism disguised as jokes. No more wondering if I was good enough. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through messages. A few friends had reached out after hearing about the divorce. One buddy invited me to a poker night next week. Another suggested grabbing lunch. I responded to both. Yes to poker, yes to lunch. Yes to moving forward. The house was quiet, but it was a good quiet. The kind where you can actually think. The kind where you can breathe. I finished the beer and went to bed early. Tomorrow was a new day. And for the first time in years, I was actually looking forward to it. 3 months later, I was doing better than I had in years. The house was completely mine now. I repainted the guest room and turned it into a home office. Bought some new furniture, made the place feel like it actually belonged to me, instead of just being a space I occupied. Work was good. Same job, same routine. But without the constant stress of going home to criticism. Everything felt lighter. My boss noticed, told me I seemed more focused. I reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with during the marriage. Poker nights became a regular thing. I started going to the gym with my coworker, Walter. Nothing crazy, just staying active and getting out of the house. Her grandmother and I stayed in touch. She'd call every few weeks to check in. She eventually started talking to my ex again, but kept those conversations separate from ours. She's doing okay, her grandmother told me in February. Got her own apartment, finally dealing with those loans. She asks about you sometimes. What do you tell her? That you're doing well? Because you are. I ran into her mother at the grocery store in March. It was awkward for about 10 seconds. Then she smiled. You look good, she said. Thanks. How have you been? Good. Busy with the grandkids. She paused. I'm glad you're doing well. You deserve it. I appreciate that. She hesitated, then added, she's learning. Slowly, but she's learning. That's good to hear. We chatted for a few more minutes before going our separate ways. It wasn't uncomfortable. Just two people who used to be connected, acknowledging that life moves on. I never ran into my ex directly. I heard through her grandmother that she was working 2 jobs now to cover her expenses, dating someone new, though it wasn't serious, going to therapy regularly. Part of me was glad she was getting help. Another part of me didn't care either way. She wasn't my responsibility anymore. By spring, I barely thought about the marriage. When I did, it felt like remembering something that happened to someone else. The guy who paid his wife's loans while she told everyone he was useless felt like a different person. I wasn't that guy anymore. One Saturday in April, I was working in the yard when my neighbor Roger walked over. Hey, I'm having a barbecue next weekend. You should come. Bring whoever. I'll be there. Just me, though. Works for me. Julie's sister will be there. She's single if you're interested. I laughed. I'm not looking for anything right now. Fair enough. Offer stands if you change your mind. The barbecue was easy, casual. Roger's sister-in-law was nice. We talked about work and music and nothing heavy. She gave me her number. I said I'd text her. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. The point was, I could. I was free to make that choice without worrying about what someone else thought or how they'd spin it to their family. That night, I sat on my back deck with a beer and looked at the yard. I'd planted some new trees in March. They were small now, but they'd grow. I'd be here to see it. My phone buzzed. A text from her grandmother. Thinking about you. Hope you're well. I smiled and typed back. Doing great. Hope you are too. Always. You're a good man. Don't forget that. I set the phone down and finished my beer. The sun was setting, turning everything orange and pink. It was quiet except for birds and the distant sound of someone mowing their lawn. This was my life now. Simple, peaceful, mine. No drama, no criticism, no walking on eggshells or wondering if I was enough. I was enough. I had always been enough. It just took losing someone who couldn't see it to finally believe it myself. I went inside, locked up, and got ready for bed. Tomorrow, I was meeting Walter for breakfast, then working on the office some more. Normal stuff, good stuff. As I turned off the lights, I thought briefly about that Thanksgiving dinner. Her grandmother standing up and telling the truth. The look on my ex-wife's face when her lies caught up to her. I didn't feel angry about it anymore. I didn't feel much of anything except grateful. Grateful that her grandmother cared enough to speak up. Grateful that I listened. Grateful that I had the strength to walk away instead of accepting scraps and calling it love. I got into bed and closed my eyes. Life was good, and it was only getting better. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.